It's the season finale of the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League in Wheatland, Missouri, and 2 championships will be decided tonight. In the Super Farm Tractor class, the Agitator and Screamin' Norwegian teams have been battling all season for the points lead. Can Nick Score and Sean Boyd hold on to their 6-point lead and get the class championship? The Pro Modified 4-wheel drive truck class is in the middle of one of the closest points battles in Pro Pulling League history, with an unprecedented 5-way, 4-point race for the championship. With second place only 1 position out of first and third through 5th trucks out by 2 positions, it all comes down to one last hook. The end of the season is at hand. Stay tuned. Champions will be determined next. Truck and tractor pulling. The ultimate test of power. Professional pullers compete using custom-built vehicles with thousands of horsepower to see who can pull a multi-ton weighted sled the farthest. The sled is adjusted for each class to make the competition a fair test of power and driver's skill. There's no practice in pulling. Every decision a team makes before each pull is critical to competing for a class championship. In a season full of highs and lows, teams dedicate hundreds of hours to maintenance, travel, and repair. This is professional pulling with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Wheatland, Missouri. We are excited here at the Lucas Oil Products Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico because it is championship day for the 2 featured categories of the modified 4-wheel drive trucks and the Super Farm tractors. And Leslie Mears, the points championship run is tight.
It is so close with our Super Farm tractors, just 10 points separating the top 3 contenders. And so it is really anyone's ballgame coming into the home stretch here. And with the class so close, as you can see there, Nick Score leading the pack, really any of those other players in the 4 through 10 spots can really shake things up a lot.
And it's even tighter in the modified 4-wheel drive trucks as the top 7 are separated by just 7 points. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Hook order.
Yeah, it is definitely on as we see Steve Creedeman come up here first. Hook in the category, but the Screamin' Norwegian and the Agitator both are really peaking as well right when they need to. I mean, these guys have been on the podium religiously. Boy, and the Pale Rider picks up the front end, immediately hangs it there. I mean, it was a beautiful sight for sure, just planting those rear tires and then puts 319 and 45 on the board. That was a beautiful effort.
And definitely going to give our officials something to think about. You can see Nick Score there and the number 3 hook position, Blaine Fraker's 6th hook, and then Michael Snepp, one of the later hooks in the class. And so it'll be very interesting to see how the track develops for those guys who are vying for the championship and to see what kind of passes they can lay down. The good thing for Nick Score, though, he gets to piggyback off his teammate Steve Creedeman, who was that first hook.
All right, let's check in with Crash Gladys. She spoke with Mac Darnell earlier today.
Well, this was the first full season for Brooke Darnell behind the wheel of Red Scorpion. Of course, she couldn't make it back from college in time for this event, the season finale tonight. Pops is behind the wheel. How would you sum up Brooke's entire season?
Oh, I'll tell you what, been a fantastic season for her in her rookie season. She had one regional win this year, a couple seconds, so we're very, very proud of her, the way she drives. I reckon she's getting from the old man, I reckon. She's learned from him a little bit, so.
Well, now you've got to kind of solidify the season right here for her. What do you have to do to continue to make her proud?
Keep her in the top 10 points right now, so go out here and do the best we can and hopefully get a top 10 finish for her.
Pressure's on.
Very, very much on, yes.
Yeah, and that tractor is sitting at 10th in points this year, and for her rookie season, that's pretty competitive considering that there have been 39 different tractors compete over the course of the season in the Super Farm category.
And he has his work cut out for him because 11th is only 4 points back. And again, the International rotates those rear tires, picks up the front end, and does a nice job. 307 and 56, however, well short of what we saw the Pale Rider post.
And that variance can be just due to placement of that sled down on the starting line. Let's check in with Crash. She's got more information on Nick's score, who'll be the first of our contenders out on the track.
Guys, we've been talking about how a couple of drivers have not been real comfortable with the track conditions tonight. So an interesting turn of events down here just now. I watched Clay Darnell and Don Slama move about 100 pounds either to the back of their tractor or the middle of their tractor, but Nick's score just moved 200 pounds forward. So we'll see if he's a good guinea pig or a bad guinea pig coming up now.
I told you he's been peaking, and proof of that, how about 7 podiums out of the last 9 hooks? That's getting it done. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a brand new leader. He's going to steal that lead by a little less than a foot, about 9 inches or so, from Steve Creedeman. Congratulations to Nick's score in the Screaming Norwegian at 3:20 and 27.
And moving that weight forward really pays off, because if you watch the tractor a little bit, you can see it's going to take a huge launch. If he did not have that 200 pounds of weight on the front of the tractor, he would have got on the wheelie bars, it would have unloaded those rear tires, it would have kind of disconnected him from the track, and it would have made those tires not hook up as well, load and unload going down the track. So a huge move by him, so smart, that helped him to gain the early lead.
All right, another player coming up here in the category, all cranked up, and Jason Vinny is currently 4th in the points coming into this event. So no doubt this Case International can get it done and just might play a role in how this championship is decided. And Jason Vinny is going to surpass what Nick Score just did. 3:22 and 20s. He puts 2 feet on the Screaming Norwegian.
And 2 huge podiums in the last 4 events for these guys. And the Vinny team really has it dialed in out here. This 2-tractor team, and these guys feed off the information from one another. But for a first effort out, these guys are doing excellent with this hook, and it's going to be hard to match up there. You see him sashay a little off to the side, which means he could have had a little bit more distance if he did not veer off to that left side of the track.
All right, so Jason Vinny leads the group, followed by our points leader, Nick Score, and then Steve Creedeman rounds out your top 3.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by General Tire, 100 years of adventure. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. And by 4 Wheel Parts, the global leader in truck, Jeep, and off-road performance products.
Welcome back to Wheatland, Missouri, and Lucas Oil Speedway for the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling Nationals, presented by Geico. Up next will be Don Slama, the man that kicked the season off with a win. And Terry Boyd, you You have more.
I was talking to Don Slama when he was walking the track earlier this afternoon. He said, hey, my only concern is this track's a little bit soft. I think there's going to get a hole right away, right out of the first couple of tractors. I'm trying to just be to the right side of the hole and rock it right down the far right side of the track.
And the track conditions here at Lucas Oil Speedway a little different than usual because of a torrential downpour the days coming up to this event, so it does change the consistency of this dirt.
And Don Slama's going to miss it by just a little bit. Good enough to enter the top 5, but a 3:17 and 95 will not be in the top 3.
And he was almost a whole tractor width to the right of where we saw that leading run of Jason Vinny there and all cranked up.
All right, here comes a man that is second in the points. He is just 6 points back and needs to get in front of the screaming Norwegian. He's got to put some tractors between him. He does have the edge if it's a tie, as he has more wins on the season. And he is going to accomplish that. 3:21 and 47, a little bit further than Nick's score, but there's not much of a window between the two.
Now things just got really interesting here in our points battle. As you can see, we'll go on board, take a look at what he's doing as the driver there, but even though it's just a small margin, about 18 inches, this class is so competitive that any of our remaining tractors could stack up right between those guys. So Blaine Fraker still has a chance here at the championship. If I was Nick's score, I'd be starting to get a little bit nervous.
All right, we continue on. Up next is high maintenance Josh Miley, and Josh Miley on a high right now, fresh off of a win, his first win of the season. And Josh Miley will put 3:09 and 64 on the board.
Josh really gained a lot of consistency here in the last 4 events.
Well, guys, we've already got a couple tractors over the 320 mark. Am I going to assume a floating finish here or not?
Well, after we reset the sled, we had to move the box. It had about 4 or 5 holes. That takes about 20 feet out of it. Well, we're going to land right at 320, 322. It's going to go back and forth. We could have quite a few past 320. I don't think the track's going to get better, so we'll find that champion right here tonight.
All right, the internationals are tough in this category as Dan Vinny comes up now with the Crank It Up tractor. When he had it wicked up, you could see the flame in the pipe, but unfortunately it set the nose back down a little bit early, so the setup on it wasn't perfect. Consequently, 3:03 and 97.
And this run did not have the major wheel stand that we had seen out of the previous tractors, the ones who were able to get that nice hole shot, launch that front end up, get all the 9,300 pounds into the rear tires, and get themselves a lot of good momentum and ground speed up. His wheel stand not as high off the get-go, so maybe a little too heavy on that front nose.
Yeah, tough break. Comes in here 5th in the points, was 2nd at our last hook, and just missed it a little bit. As we watch Clay Darnell on the maximum overdrive. Well, Clay does a nice job here at 3:16 and 61, but it almost looked like the nose might have been a little bit light on that one.
And this is the case. Crash told us they moved weights to the belly bar of the tractor where maybe they could have moved it to the front end and ended up a little further.
It is a game of inches for sure, and it's tricky to get it perfect. There's a look at your top 3. We'll finish this thing up when we come back. This is the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico. We're at Lucas Oil Speedway covering the Super Farm Tractor category, the final event of the 2015 season. Nick Score with the Screaming Norwegian has the points lead, but it's going to be tight here right to the very end. Let's check in with Crash.
Hey guys, Michael Snepp just told me that he feels like the tractors are really taking off hard right off the starting line, so he decided to move some weight to the front of his tractor, just like Nick Score did earlier on.
He also moved the tractor over to that right sideline farther than we've seen anyone thus far.
Third in the points. And 3:19 even for the perfect storm. That will keep him back behind Nick Score and Blaine Fraker with the agitator, so we will not be able to capitalize on those championship points here tonight.
When here's another shot for Fraker to try to win that championship this year. It's going to be Andy Schwenk and Runnin' Buck Wild. He needs guys to get in between those two tractors. He picked up 2 points on Nick Score, but he needs 2 tractors to get in between them to win the championship.
In fact, if Andy doesn't get it done, it's over because there's only 2 tractors left in the category. And it's not going to happen. Just that quickly, the championship will go to Nick Score and the Screaming Norwegian. 3:02 and 29 for Andy Schwenk is just not enough to get him up there in that hunt and sneak ahead of Nick Score, but yet behind Blaine Fraker.
And our last tractor here in the category will be Brett Weber in the Never Say Never machine. Good-looking Farmall out there on the track.
And again, like many of the others, picked up that front end right away. 3:07 and 42 is the number for Brett Weber. It won't be enough to win here tonight. An excellent effort, and boy, what an incredibly close season. Let's go down and talk to Jason Vinny, our winner.
Wow, what a way for the Vinnies to end the season here in 2015, taking home a win in Wheatland. That takes a whole lot of momentum for you guys back to Wisconsin for that long, cold winter.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of cool to win the last pole of the year, and I really want to thank my neighbor, Punky Score, and Sean Boyd for winning the points championship because it's a very hard thing to do, and I'm very happy for him.
Now, I know that's not the only people that you want to thank. There's a lot of people responsible for keeping you out here for the full season.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank Lucas Oil because for what they do for the sport, it's great for us. And I also want to thank our motor builder, Robbie Lemke, and our tire cutter, Mark Korth at K3 Tire, and Brandon Hart at Hart's Diesel and Machine, and definitely Kevin Engelking, our dyno man.
And the Vinnies will put both of their tractors in the top 5 in the points this year in the rookie season with the Champions Tour. As you can see the results here for the class, Blaine Fraker does finish second here tonight at Wheatland, but he will finish second in the points as well. Another stellar season for that team.
Well, guys, it's a second place tonight for Blaine Fraker and a second place in the points. And I was saying that to you earlier, and you said, oh, I know, but it's 3 years in a row. Come on, let's just be excited for a little bit, right?
Oh, it was a good hook tonight, but, I mean, second 3 years in a row kind of gets old, but we'll be back next year to try to get first. So.
Good news is you can use bridesmaids' dresses over and over again.
Yeah, it just gets old.
I'm already sensing you're just building up that momentum in your head for next year. You are mad, and you are going to get revenge.
Oh, we're going to come out swinging next year.
Look what you get to go home to, though. Beautiful wife and son. Life's not too bad.
No, it's pretty good having them every hook with me.
Yeah, as we take a look at the points there, I mean, I do agree that is frustrating. Second place 3 years in a row. I mean, you want to win this thing, but the good news is that consistency is there. They are a championship caliber team, and next year they'll have a shot at Nick Score, our champ. Let's go down and talk to him.
I'll tell you what, another great year for Nick Score, going all the way down to the wire. Third place finish tonight, but championship for 2015.
Yeah, this is the third one. This is probably the most special one. A good partner that helps you drive, work on it. There's supposed to be another guy with us, but he couldn't make it this year, so this one's for Durf. I'd like to thank all our sponsors, Norris Tavern, Landmark. Special mention to Butch Krieger and his family. They had a big loss this week, so our hearts go out to them.
Nick, talk about why number 3 is so special to you.
Well, just the different people are with this time. It's finally somebody else drove. Actually, he's the only one that won all year. We only had one win, so this is just special.
All right, so that'll wrap things up with the Super Farm category. What a great battle this season, but we are far from done. And the modified four-wheel drive trucks are even tighter in the points. We'll talk more about that when we come back. This is the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico here at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. The unlimited cubic inch power plants are coming up here in the modified four-wheel drive trucks. Take a look at the points here. Talk about close. First and second separated by just 2, then third, fourth, and fifth just 4 points back. It is as tight as it gets. We have a number of players that have a shot at this, and this is always a huge class, so anything can happen here. The Radical is going to kick things off. Steve Clem, a former champion inside of this category, has dealt with these pressures before. Boy, and he just got that sled rolling a little bit, and as soon as he could feel that thing rolling, he went right to the mat with it and puts a huge number on the board at 318 and 76.
And he did what he had to do as the first truck out of the gate, and you can see slowly rolling out just like Terry Hagedorn talked about. And then you hear the RPM start to buzz up when he finally feels it hook up to the track on all 4 corners, and check out the steady stream of dirt coming off those front tires. It just shows you how good his tire program is out there and how good they're digging into the track.
Just an awesome onboard shot, and you can see the patience and the wisdom at the beginning of that hook as he just took his time nice and smoothly applying that throttle, and then once he got a grip like you were talking about, Leslie, boom, man, let's let it eat.
And the running order is very interesting. Terry Hagedorn has one of his trucks that is not in contention for the title as an early hook in the class, and then you can see his 10th hook in the track. Jake Zering has the same thing happening. He has 2 opportunities to take home this championship with the Fatheads and the Dixie Chopper machine, because they're both sitting up there within 4 points of the lead out there. And so those team trucks, I think, are going to have an advantage here over Steve Clem, who was the #1 puller of the night.
Just 6 points out of the lead and comes in here 6th in the points. Well, and I got to tell you, it almost sounded to me like he just chose a wrong gear here. Terry Hagedorn and the Untamed Spirit, who is so solid, but you could hear the RPMs up there bumping the rev limiter, so it was not able to stay in the power.
Dave Bamber bringing his Ford-powered Bamber Hemi to the track now, sitting in 12th coming into this event. But key players like this are really going to make a difference in our champion, who will be crowned tonight depending on where they fall in the category.
Boy, Dave also buzzed that motor up and bumped that rev limiter just a little bit. It's like they're getting up on top of the dirt and really not able to make these things go to work like they're capable of doing. So very interesting for sure, because Steve Clem certainly did something those other 2 guys did not do.
And man, what a waiting game for him as he's standing down at the end of the track watching all these trucks go by. Next up, it'll be old school Corey Lemoran, who had his best finish at Mound City earlier this year.
Boy, and that thing, I mean, they sound beautiful just screaming up there at full song. 298.62, good enough for the top 3 right now, but you have to think, based on that 318 from Clem, that somebody's going to get out there over that 300-foot mark as we watch Mike Mankey coming up with the Foolish Farmer truck.
Many of you guys may be familiar with the old school blue Ford body he had on. He actually switched out. This is his dad's body off of his truck that he's running this year.
What a nice job there for the Foolish Farmer at 308.03.
And sometimes you just have to step out of the groove. Everybody else running on the left side of the track. He moves all the way over to the right, finds some good fresh dirt over there, been packed down by a roller all night long. And you can see he waits some more on that throttle as well. And that's what you're gonna have to do. It's all about drivability here with these naturally aspirated engines.
Boy, stayed nice and straight too, right there by the out-of-bounds line. All right, there's a look at the top 3. It'll get tighter as we move along. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. And by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn.
All right, we're deciding a championship in the modified four-wheel drive trucks here at the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico. Up next is a truck that is currently in a 3-way tie for 3rd. It is Jake Zering with the Fathead sponsored machine. And Jake's gonna miss it here as well. 293 and 14.
The good thing for him, though, is that he does have a second chance out there. Tried something very different, went in the center of the track. Now, the good thing for these guys is that they can pop the cover off that gearbox very quickly and change gears to get a little more or less horsepower. Let's check in with Crash. She's got more on the War Wagon.
David Mills has been watching much of this class from the top end, so I asked him what has he learned up there, and he said flat out, patience. He's noticed many of his competitors have started their runs conservatively, but the minute they apply all the power to the motor, the run just goes away. The tires spin. They can't get anything out of it. So look for him to be very patient, feathering the throttle from the start all the way to the end. Again, a very, very patient run.
Steve Clem keeping an eye on the rest of the competition here for sure. And he really has to worry about Jake Zarian. I'm sure that's heavy on his mind. The War Wagon as well, just 4 points back, but that just did not sound good. 287 and 12 the distance there, and David Mills had something going on with the truck.
Crash has got an update on Steve Clem.
Steve, you've been giving the motion. There's two down, 2 to go. This is a little stressful for you up here, huh?
Yes, I'm gonna have a heart attack. It's, the track, honestly, I think I had a better run being early on the track, but, with all these guys, they're good pullers. You can't count any of them out. Jake's still sitting back there. We got some trucks back there can still make a road, so I'm not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, Jake didn't catch you on his first tractor, but he's got his second truck back there. He's gonna get you maybe.
Yeah, and Jake is a good truck puller, and he's back here now making adjustments, whatever it's gonna take to beat me. So he's the one I'm sweating more about than anybody.
Yeah, keep in mind, Jake just pulled with the Fatheads truck. That was in a tie for third place. He's actually also driving the Dixie Chopper truck, and that truck is currently second in the points and just 2 points behind Clem with the Radical. So he really got lucky in the order that he pulled with that first truck being the Fatheads truck.
Here comes Gary Varner in fast break, running in those same tracks that we saw Steve Clem in earlier.
And the fast break truck comes in here, 7th in the points, 7 points back, goes 3:25 and 43, and takes over the lead. That is a huge number out of Gary Varner, showing it can be done.
And the Varners are just so good. This truck picked up seconds at Platte City and Mound City. Didn't finish outside of the top 10 all year, but did have a do not hook at Mackville. If he did not have that one do not hook on the season, we could be talking about the fast break being in contention here for the championship. So I know these guys had some terminal damage up there that caused them to have that, but just an excellent run here from some veteran pullers there in the Varners.
Yeah, he did his job for sure as he puts the better part of 7 feet on Steve Clem, but he needs a lot of help. He needs some trucks to get in between now, the two of them, to make those points happen and swing that championship his way. Gunpowder and Lead, another player here in the championship. And Terry Hagedorn, unfortunately, is not going to get it done at 3:08 and 95. The Untamed Spirit truck, he went 2:74 and 65, so he learned a lot, but not enough to get out in the front. Crazy stuff for sure, man. These points are ever changing. When we come back, we're going to settle it and find our champ. Stay with us. It has been a busy night as we're chasing championships in 2 categories here at the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling Nationals, presented by Geico. We know that Nick Score won the championship in the Super Farm Tractor category. Now we're covering the modified 4-wheel drives. Up next, Larry Smith and the Lean Meat Machine. And the Protect the Harvest back machine, unfortunately, is going to miss the setup here a little bit at $2.99 and $72.
and he seemed a little tentative with the throttle. You know, I was watching through the window there, and it looked like he never really went to full throttle on that run. Tried a little bit there at 200 feet, but just never really got after it.
Yeah, that one will make some steam, too, with the Steve Schmidt prepared power plant underneath the hood. Up next will be one of the ladies in the category, Leanne Timoleon. The truck is called Charm. She's not afraid to rock that right hand forward and open that thing up, but the setup just a little bit off here as she goes 294 and 11.
And Charmed running on a limited basis here on the Champions Tour this year, just making one other event this season.
Up next, Jim Bosch and the Midnight Raider.
You know, Jim Bosch really been doing a lot of experimental things with his truck over the last several years. A former champion in this category, multi-time champion, but you know, always trying to be ingenuitive and try new things out there. So not the season we typically see out of this truck.
Well, and you can see he was well into the pull before he finally went full throttle with that one. 3:05 and 64 is probably a pretty decent number here late in the category like this.
It's got to make you really wonder if the track is going to weigh just a bit, seeing these lower numbers up on the board for distances.
And again, the patience there to just slowly work that throttle. Unfortunately, just did not have it figured out here. And now we'll have the opportunity to look forward to 2016. All right, once again, let's go down and check in with Crash.
Jake Zering did not catch Steve Clem with his Fatheads truck, so what he's done is change some gearing. He's gone up a gear for the Dixie Chopper machine. He's echoing the exact same sentiments that we've heard from all the other drivers, though, and that you've just got to drive these trucks on this track more patiently than ever. So look for Jake to maybe tweak his driving style on this run as well.
He's also moved the sled closer to the left sideline, where we saw Gary Varner put the fast brake at the top of the leaderboard.
Wow, what a huge change. I thought he might have chose a gear that was actually too high, but in reality, it took him a long time to get the clutch out. Once he got it out, it pulled the RPMs way down, but then that motor's making some huge steam, and man, it started chugging, and he takes over the lead at 329 and 85.
And you can just hear those low RPMs, and then finally, there he goes. He buzzes that throttle, they come up, puts all that power into the track, and really kind of an odd driving style that you would see in this category. Usually, it's the guys who are off the line who are very smooth and methodical and not really kind of jumpy on the throttle like that take the lead. But hey, it worked for him, and he's in the lead right now.
All right, Daryl Varner coming up next with a stray dog. And, you know, for years I called the IHRA Mountain Motor Pro Stock cars, and those things have huge cubic inches as well. The Mountain Motors, of course, in excess of 800 cubic inches, and that's what these trucks are. And they make mad amounts of torque. So when you get deep in the RPM band like that, they can still tug up out.
Oh, and he pedaled it just a little bit at the end.
Yeah, you can see him pull that handle back just a little bit, something that the diesel trucks do all the time. Definitely rare in this category, though. Did it help him or hurt him? Hard to say. Nonetheless, the number very solid at 321 and 37, and he jumps into the top three. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by General Tire, 100 years of adventure. Speedco Truck Lube and Tires, built for speed, staffed for quality, delivering world-class value. And by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world.
It has been busy out here tonight for sure as we chase the championship from the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico here in our modified four-wheel drive truck category. Steve Clem was hoping he could hang on to this championship, but he has watched it since slip away as he is no longer in the top three. Jake Zering with the Dixie Chopper is going to win the championship in this category as we only have 3 trucks left to go. David Mills is going to upset, though. He wants to win this event, and he just took the lead, 3:31 even.
And this is what you do when you have team trucks. You go out there, you make a decent pass out there with your first truck. You go back, you use the data, you make the changes, you modify your driving style, and this is how you get it done. The Ramrod 10th coming into this particular event here, picked up a 3rd place finish at Indianapolis at that Indy Super Bowl out there. So lots of momentum for this truck. And man, way to finish the season here for David Mills and the Ramrod. Doing the driving this year for the first time for Eddie Allen. I know those guys in that camp are excited.
And he went to that longer gear as well. And again, it took him the better part of the first half of the hook before he ever went full throttle. But once he did, he had some great ground speed, good wheel speed. I mean, the combination working well. All right, up next will be the American Ride, driven by Danny Hunter. And Danny gets to the throttle much quicker, puts 3:08 and 88 up on the board, respectable, but not enough to play with the leaders here tonight.
And it seemed like at the beginning and the end of the run, he just wasn't really hooked up to the track evenly on those 4 corners. And you can kind of hear it in the RPMs as they kind of zing up and down once those tires are loading and unloading out there trying to dig into the track.
Love the real fire paint here on the Wicked Sensation, the final truck of the night, Todd Henricks. When he pedaled it just a little bit, you could hear the truck and the tires got up on top of the dirt, and he wanted to let it settle and keep digging just a little bit. 3:06 and 30. It's amazing the feel these guys have inside of these trucks and a class that is so vicious. Let's go down and talk to our winner.
So before we get to this awesome win, David did tell me earlier in the day that you were going to drive patiently, but to get the win, it was the exact opposite. Is that right?
Well, I was still pretty patient with it. I mean, it wasn't the best of tracks, and we had a little issue with the scales tonight and had to take off a lot of weight. But it took a set, and the more the more throttle I gave it, that truck there hooked up and took off. It was kind of bittersweet to do bad. I needed to do better with the other truck, but I'm glad to have a win. Anyway I can get it.
Exactly. A win's a win, no matter what truck it is. I mean, it's hard going double duty.
It is. And I have just drove that truck a couple of times this year. Eddie usually drives that truck, and just the last 2 hooks, he's asked me to drive that truck, and I have done better. I finished second with it at the end and got on the podium and won it here tonight, and so maybe I need to switch trucks.
And a big win there for the Knoxville Mafia as he finished his first. Jake Zering, though, doing so good there in the Dixie Chopper truck in 2nd place. But it was Gary Varner out there in fast break who really broke the ground, showed that there was a lot more track left out there for these guys, and they could put the power to it and get it done. Let's head to the podium with Crash.
As we saw tonight, this was a driver's track. So to salvage a 3rd place, a podium, this was not easy. How did you do it?
Well, like you said, I just tried to drive and feel my truck, and we ran that line, left line, which earlier we talked about it and thought it might be the best line on the track, and turns out it did.
Yeah, what was it though? Why was the left side so much better than the right side? A couple of drivers were saying it had a sweet spot.
Well, just the dirt packed in a little bit better over there, more so than middle to the right side. So, we just try to look at that and figure out, watching other trucks run, and hopefully we find something out there.
Feathering the throttle, needing to be patient. Has a podium ever felt so good?
No, it hasn't. I tell you, it's really nice to be able to do good with this group of trucks, and especially here at the finals and everything.
All right, here's a look at the points. Jake Zering did a great job here tonight as he's able to leapfrog up ahead of Steve Clem and take that championship. Terry Hagedorn with the gunpowder and lead will end up in third. Jake Zarian with his second truck, and then David Mills rounds out your top 5. Let's go down and talk to the champ.
Well, I'll tell you what, second place finish here tonight in Wheatland for Jake Zarian. That's fantastic. But I'll tell you what's even more important. Second place gets you the championship in the four-wheel drive class.
Yeah, I tell you, you don't know how enthused and happy I am. This is 10 years with the Dixie Chopper truck and the backing, and to be able to come in here and win this point series. We won the regional series last week with it, and it's just one terrific deal.
Let's talk about tonight. You have 2 trucks out there. The first truck didn't get down as far as you wanted. You made a gearing change based on that first truck out on the track. Is that what it took to win this championship for you tonight? Because there were 5 guys with a shot at this title.
Yeah, we decided to change gears at the last minute after we made the first run of that one truck. It just wasn't quite hooking out of the hole. I dropped some air pressure, and I concentrated on driving the truck and hooking it up and accelerating the whole way.
And he did a great job of it. Consequently, he earns a championship. It's a big night for sure. Congrats to everybody, and thanks for the incredibly close competition throughout the 2015 season with both of these categories. For Crash Gladys, Terry Boyd, and Leslie Mears, I'm Ken Stout. Thanks for watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.